All right, guys, in this video, I'm going to go through how to factorize quadratic trinomials, which is a very key skill in Algebra 2 and something that comes up over and over again. All right, so you see the problems that are here in front of us. We have 8 problems. I'm going to go through the odd number problems, 1, 3, 5, and 7, and I'm going to leave you to try the even number 2, 4, 6, and 8. All right, so starting off with number 1, I see that my quadratic trinomial is p squared plus 14p, p squared plus 14p plus 48. So it's quadratic in p, meaning that the highest power that is on the p is 2, right? So we say that this is degree 2. It's a degree 2 polynomial. And what we want to do is we want to undo the FOIL process, right? We're unfoiling our quadratic trinomial, essentially. And what we will end up with is 2 factors. Like I said, this is degree 2, and so I will have 2 factors. And these factors will be binomials, that is 2 terms. So 2 factors and 2 terms in each factor. I see that I have a p squared, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create first my 2 factors, my 2 parentheses inside which my factors will go. Again, think of it as undoing the FOIL process. I have a p squared, and so that comes from the f. That p squared comes from the f in FOIL, the 2 first terms. Well, p squared, that comes from p and p. I have, if I look at my quadratic trinomial now, I look at the various terms, I look at the last term, that plus 48. The fact that that is positive in the FOIL process, F-O-I-L, the L is my 2 last terms. That is, it is the term that would be here multiplied by the term that would be here. And the fact that it's positive tells me that the sign on both of those terms must be either plus plus, because that would give me a positive 48, or minus minus, because that would also give me a positive, in this case, positive 48. The fact that I have a positive middle term, that positive 14p, the fact that that's positive tells me that the signs are going to be plus and plus. So I'm going to have p plus something times p plus something. And so now it only remains to find factors of 48 that will sum to 14. And maybe a little bit of trial and error here. I might be tempted to try, say, 4 and 12. But 4 and 12 do not sum to 14. 2 and 24 are factors of 48, but they don't sum to 14. And I think what I'm going to end up with is, if I think through my factors of 48, 6 and 8. 6 and 8 should work. So let me try 6 and let me try 8. And the way I'll just check to make sure I've done this correctly is what I'll do is I'll just multiply this term times this term. Those in the FOIL process, F-O-I-L, that would be my I term, that my inner term, and these are my outer term. And so my outer term is p times 8, positive 8, so that's 8p. My inner term is 6 times p, that's positive 6p. And note when I sum those together, I do indeed get positive 14p, and that's my middle term in my quadratic trinomial. So I have factored it correctly. And that's how I would check. And so my answer is p plus 6 times p plus 8. Multiply those 2 binomials together, and you will end up with p squared plus 14p plus 48. So we have undone the FOIL process. We have factored this quadratic trinomial into its 2 factors. Okay, so that's how we do it. All right, and I think once we go through a few of these, you'll see that it's pretty repetitive and pretty straightforward. They do get a little bit more difficult later on, but we'll get to that in time. All right, so that's question number 1. I'll try question number 3. I think I said I would do the odd numbered problems. So in question number 3, it's p squared plus 14p plus 40. That's that one. And again, it's quadratic. I'm going to have 2 factors. And the fact that I have a quadratic trinomial tells me that both of those factors are going to be binomials. So it's going to be p and p. That's where my p squared will come from. I have a positive final term, plus 40. So again, I know that my signs are going to be plus plus or minus minus. And the fact that it is plus 14, that my middle term is positive, tells me that it's going to be plus plus. Must be here plus and here plus. Again, I'm looking for factors of 40, which will sum to 14. Well, I think 4 and 10 will work. So let me try 4 and 10. 4 times 10 is 40, or positive 4 times positive 10 is positive 40. And if I go here to here and here to here, I check my O and my I. I see p times 10 is 10p, plus 4 times p is plus 4p, 10 plus 4, that's 14. And so again, I have factored it correctly. Again, you don't have to do this every single time, but it's just a quick way of checking to make sure that you have found the correct factors. And so my factors are p plus 4 times p plus 10. That's it. Your quadratic trinomial is factored. Done. All right, let's try question number 5. Question number 5 is p squared minus 8p plus 7. All right, so again, I'm going to have two factors. And again, I'm going to have a p and a p. I look at my last term. The fact that it is positive, again, tells me that my signs are going to be here plus plus or minus minus. Which is it going to be? Well, I look at my middle term. My middle term is negative. And the fact that my middle term is negative tells me that it's going to be minus minus. So I can put in my signs right away. Minus minus. And I'm looking for factors of 7. Well, founding factors of 7, integer factors are 7 and 1. And so I'm going to go with 7 and 1. And again, if I just check it, I'm going to switch color. Minus 7p, negative 7p. That's my my inner terms, and then my outer terms are p times negative 1. That's negative p. If you sum minus 7p and negative p, that's negative 8p. And note that that is our center term. All right, so it has been factored correctly. P minus 7 times p minus 1 would indeed give me p squared minus 8p plus 7. Factored correctly. All right, last one, question number 7. This time it's quadratic. In b, I have b squared minus 8b plus 15. 8b plus 15. I want to factor this. All right, it's b squared, so my leading terms will be b and b. b times b is b squared. I have a positive 15, so I know my signs will be plus plus or minus minus. The fact that I have a negative 8b, my middle term is negative, tells me it's going to be minus minus. So I have minus minus. I'm looking for factors of 15 that will sum to 8. 3 times 5, right? 3 times 5 is 15, so let me try 3 and 5. And sure enough, negative 3b minus 5b is negative 8b. And so there you go. I have factored it correctly. My factors are b minus 3 times b minus 5. So that's some relatively simple quadratic trinomials. And that's how we go about factorizing them. Hopefully not too difficult, but it is a very key thing that we need to be able to do. And so it's very important to get the hang of this and be able to do it very quickly and very fluidly, because again, it comes up over and over in Algebra 2. And so I will leave you now to try for yourselves questions 2, 4, 6, and 8, and I will post the answers to those next week. Okay, take care, bye.